Hello, everybody. Happy October. It's the first weekend of October, and here we are for another Power Hour. Hope everybody's doing great. We've got looks like going to be a skeleton crew today. Not a whole lot of people have joined initially. Maybe some folks will join as we get going. But I hope everybody's doing great. And let me know what you are going to be working on today. So those of you who are here, type in the chat, what are you working on? And if you're new, please let me know that as well. We like to roll out the welcome mat for all the new folks. All right. So who is with us today? We've got SD Houston. Hi, all. Made friends with the like button. Thank you. Appreciate that. Deborah Edwards is here. Good morning. Good morning, Deborah. TextVet Job is, or TextVet Jeb. I don't know why I said job. TextVet Jeb is here. Good morning, Jonathan. Good to see you. And Mr. Zikoki, it is good evening. Yes, good evening. I should have said that. Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good stuff. Glad to have you with us. And Ukweli says hello, hello. Greblocks, hello, Greblocks. TextVet Jeb is outlining second novel. My brother from another mother, Dale Roberts, is in the house. Dale is here. Hello, Dale. Good to see you, my friend. And yeah, so I guess I'll talk about what I'm going to be working on. I am still working on book 6 of my Good Necromancer series. That's where I'm at. I got kind of stuck. Well, I shouldn't say I got stuck, but life happened, and I had to step away from it for a little bit. And so I'm getting back into it. And I feel like I said that last month, but you know, it is what it is, guys. So I'm not really that worried about it. All right. So I'm also speaking at the Book Ninja Summit later today. That is, you can find out more about that at bookninjasummit.com. That's run by the good people over at Crave Books. If you're not familiar with Crave Books, they are a marketing service where it basically they have different ways for you to run promotions. So you can schedule promotions, and they actually have it's pretty cool. They're linked up with like a lot of different book promo sites. So like you can sign up for promos for like the Fussy Librarian and I forget some of the other ones, but the places where, you know, you sign up and you discount your book to 99 cents and then, you know, they email their newsletter of people. So you can do that. And they also have a service where they can do some Facebook ads for you. I really like Crave Books. If anyone's interested, you know, I do have an affiliate link for them, authorlevelup.com/Crave Books. But they're doing their first ever Book Ninja Summit. And I'm speaking later this afternoon on a panel with Mark Leslie Lefebvre, Brian Meeks, and Carrie Flanagan. And we're going to be talking about the power of marketing. All right, and we're going to be talking about each of our different approaches to marketing. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. So good stuff. All right, Deborah Edwards says working on World War II novel. Ukweli short story. Greblocks working on author website. Eddie Sales, good morning, my brother. Good morning. All right. So if anyone is new here, I would love to know. Please let me know if you're new. For those of you who are veterans, which is, I believe, most of you, I've seen all of your names before. Just, you know what to do. All right. So a few things I want to let people know in case people forgot. This is my standing offer to you as a thank you for coming out here. If you go to my website, authorlevelup.com/books, you can get any of my books for 15% off. Just use the code POWERHOUR. And as I said, that's my gift to you for coming out. I don't publicize it. So if you happen to show up to these power hours, just know that's a standing deal, standing offer for you. So I'm glad to have you all here, and I'm excited to get some work done. So why don't we just jump into it? You guys know that I'll answer any questions that you have. Feel free to put those in the chat, and we'll get going with that. But first, we're going to kick off our first session. I'm going to get 20 minutes on the timer right now, and let's get at it. Okay. First session is over. Hope everybody did great. Let me know in the comments what your word count was and how you're feeling about it. Because as we all know, if you feel good about the words, then the words are good. All right. So I was just reviewing the manuscript that I had to figure out where I'm going. I had some emails that came in too. So I don't know that my session was entirely productive. But there was one thing I did want to mention while everyone's putting in their comments and word counts and things is that Microsoft over the past month has they've already announced it, but they're starting to roll out their Copilot product. So over the past week, I think it was last week, they rolled out Windows Copilot for Windows 11, which basically it can do things on your computer using, generative AI. The reviews of it aren't that great, but it's however it is now it's never going to be worse than it is now. But what's really coming that I want people to pay attention to is starting in November I believe for corporate clients, Microsoft Office 365 Copilot, and that includes Word Copilot. And that is going to, I think, be a game changer. That's going to completely change things. I think the implementation of it is going to be crappy in the beginning because that's just how Microsoft works. Microsoft and Apple and Google, I mean, the first iterations of things that they launch are usually crappy. But if they get better, then I think it'll be a game changer, and I think it will fundamentally kind of turn everything on its head. So just stay tuned on that. Don't sleep on that. I think that's going to be one of the bigger news stories of 2024 when it comes out, at least for writers. Okay, let's see. Wylan is here. Hey, Wylan, good to see you. All the best to you. Hope you're feeling a little bit better at least. And let's see. Presentes Momento. It goes fantastic for me writing poetry currently. Well, good. Awesome. All right. And TextFet Jeb, no word count, 2 chapters outlined, going well. Hey, that's all good. And Ukweli and Moja, no word count, reviewing what I wrote previously. That's all fine too. And Presentes Momento, 84 words, but every word I loved. Well, that's good. That's good. That's the most important thing. I'm telling you, it works like magic. All right. And Deborah Edwards edited a scene. Awesome. Well, everybody is doing great. And I'm working on this book. I'm trying to get it done. And I just feel like there's not a whole lot of news from me this past month. I mean, I've done a couple of speaking gigs, and the speaking gigs are starting to roll in for next year. So I've got a few that hopefully I'll be able to announce in the next couple of months or so. But a reminder, I'm going to be in Colorado in February. If anybody is going to the Superstars Writing Seminar, I'll be there. And that was a great seminar last year. I really had a lot of fun. So if anyone's going to be out in Colorado, please let me know. And not sure about any other venues at this point, but it's good stuff. So I've really just been focused over the past month on just trying to get as much time into my writing as possible. I've started to sit down and not talk about because I didn't talk about it with anybody, but other than myself, but start to think about strategy for 2024 and what that looks like, and where I'm going to go, where I'm going to play, what sort of books I'm going to publish, that sort of thing. And then also taking a look at taxes, and that's no fun at all. Taking a look at my royalties and trends in my royalties and over the past year, all that stuff. October, I think, is a perfect month to do that. I think the worst time to plan your year is January, because by the time you develop a plan, January is already gone. So October is really the time that I choose to do that. And because then that way I can kind of test the strategy in the fourth quarter of the year, and then I can adjust. So by the time January comes along, I'm kind of off to the races. I've hit the ground running. All right. So Greblock says, my manuscript is with the proofreader. I think I got some good work done on the website. Well, nicely done. And Presentes Momento says, by the way, I loved your book, Old Dark, It helped me embrace the pantsing because I never liked outlines, but I believed I had to outline. So to see a good story without an outline is awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I love that novel. That was a fun book for me. So, all right. Well, folks, let's get into it. Let's get into the second session. And I wish everybody the best of luck in this next session. See you in 20. Okay. Well, how did everybody do? Let me know your word counts and how you are feeling. I didn't get any word counts done. Stuff came in my emails, and I'm just letting myself be distracted today. Hopefully, you guys are a little bit more focused than me. All right. Well, we got a question that came in, or a couple comments. Yeah, question that came in from Wylan. Any advice for finding inspiration and strength to keep trying when going through something bad? I know a near-death experience is what spurred you into writing. I'm having a hard time trying. Yeah, Wylan, I think it's an important question. Finding the inspiration and courage to keep going forward when life is throwing a wrench at you, whether it's your physical health or the physical health of a loved one. Um, I certainly have been through it, and I can relate. What I would say, and a couple things that come to mind for me would be the first most important thing is to take care of yourself. So maybe the reason it's hard to focus and concentrate is because you've got to focus on the task at hand, which is taking care of yourself and getting yourself into a better position to where you can continue to write. Right. So I'm a big believer that your subconscious stops you from writing when you have more urgent things that have to be taken care of, like your health. I think that's more important than writing, because at the end of the day, you can always come back to the writing, right? You can't, with your health. I mean, I just think that that's important. Um, if you feel like you do need to keep moving forward and trying to make progress, lower your expectations. You don't have to do the things that you did before you got sick or before whatever season of life happened, right? So if you wrote 1,000 words a day, just be okay with writing 100 words, or be okay with writing 10 words. Just be okay with whatever it is you can do, and figure out what the picture of good looks like in this new season. Are what does a good day look like? What does a bad day look like? And when you have good days, take advantage of those as much as you can. And when you have bad days, just be kind to yourself. That's the other thing I would say is just be kind to yourself. I got sick earlier this year, and it completely derailed my writing. It certainly wasn't a near death experience, but like I had in 2012. But I had to step away from my writing for a time, and it sucked. But at the end of the day, I kind of had to focus on my health and prioritize that, and just make sure I was okay, so that when I did come back to the computer, that I was in tip top shape and I could continue moving forward. So that's what I would say to that, Wylan. I know you're going through some stuff, and like I said, my heart goes out to you. And at the end of the day, just remember that a writer is somebody who writes. Right? You can never give up on this. As long as you can pick up a pen, you can always continue being a writer, and it's okay to take breaks. I don't know anybody, any professional writer, that hasn't taken some sort of break throughout their career. Okay, so where are we going here? Presentes momento, 100 words, nicely done. Text fit Jeb Jonathan, organized 2 versions of the outline. It's coming along. Awesome. David McPherson got started a little late, but got 420 words. Well, hey, that's all good. Glad to have you here. And Ukwele, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Please tell me if I'm mispronouncing it. Got some good work done, reviewed, and edited opening of my short story. We'll continue with the editing process for the rest of the afternoon. Awesome. Progress is progress, and progress looks different for everybody. But as you guys are making really good progress and you're feeling good about it, and that's one of the reasons I do these power hours, so we can all walk away feeling good. All right, presentes momento. I have recently begun to embrace my own writing style and authenticity, and have discovered that writing is about unlearning all the nonsense you learned at school and through self-hatred. Oh, that's a great comment. That's okay. So let's talk about that for a second. So let's start with the unlearning all the nonsense you learned at school. Well, there's a lot of nonsense that you learn at school, that's for sure. And I don't necessarily know that it's the teacher's fault. It's just I don't know. It's in the zeitgeist, right? So there's 3 types of school that we got to talk about. There's elementary school, which you learn how to write and you learn how to put a sentence together. Then there's elementary school and middle school, to that extent. And then there's high school, where you have to start writing 5-paragraph essays, which I think is the most detrimental thing that can ever be taught, because it doesn't allow you very much creativity, especially when you're having to do like MLA citations and things like that. I mean, unless you're going to go the academic route, I think 5-paragraph essays was one of the hardest things for me to undo. And then there's college, where you kind of have more creativity, but I don't know. I had a great time in college. I had some professors that really encouraged me to break out of my shell. And to this day, some of the best advice I ever got was from one of my college professors who he went through one of, I think it was a short story. No, it was a poetry, a poem that I wrote. He went through one of my poems and he circled every instance of a cliche that I used. And there were tons of them. And that was the first time that I saw like, oh, wait a minute. This is like, yeah, this is not good. And that helped me like break out of the cycle I was in. Right. But there, there were some things I learned in college that I wish I hadn't learned. But I think really more importantly, like just to get to your point, you do learn a lot of crap in school, but there's just a lot of stuff that you just don't learn, period. I think that's the real problem. Like nobody sits down with you and tells you how to run a writing business. Nobody sits down with you and tells you how to open a chapter, how to open a scene, how to introduce a character. And we can talk all day about how a character has to have a goal, a character has to have motivation, has to have conflict. That's theory. But nobody sits down and talks to you about practice. And I think that's the real problem is there are not enough lessons around the practicing of writing. So I think you're spot on. I think you are 100% right with what you say. And then through self-hatred, yeah, I think that I wouldn't call it self-hatred, but certainly society doesn't treat writers with the same esteem as it treats other professions. And if somebody says that they want to be a writer, people say, no, don't do that. You won't make any money. You'll be a starving artist. There's no point, blah, blah, blah. And then that person will ceremoniously go and turn on a TV and watch TV, which is written by what? Written by writers. So, yeah, you guys have heard my diatribe about that. But society just doesn't appreciate the craft of writing. And I think that seeps in subconsciously. And yeah, it can cause issues. So really appreciate that comment. All right, David, right on. I have a rule to write at least 300 words. That can take at least just a few minutes, but at least I'm writing and moving forward. Yeah, baby steps. A baby step is more important than a big step in some cases. A vagrant vagabond. I like the name. I've been working on the second draft with notes from a beta reader that pointed out something that I missed. Yes, it's going to make an already large book even larger, but cutting the story in half. Okay, cool. Nice. And looks like Deborah shared an article with Wylan. So I don't know if that article went through. I don't know if it allows links. So maybe during the next session or during our last session, I'll go in and I'll approve your link, Deborah, so Wylan can see it. All right. So, well, guys, we are back to our third session. Let's go ahead and get 20 minutes on the timer. Let's do this. You guys got this. And look forward to hearing your progress. Let's get it. All right. Well, everybody, we did it. We got to the end of another Power Hour. Let me know in the comments where you are. How did you do today? How are you feeling? And then also something I've been asking over the last few months, what is your number one goal for the weekend? So what do you want to accomplish for the weekend? It could be something small, it could be something big, but what's the goal you want to accomplish by midnight on Sunday? All right. I think my goal is, well, I just need to get back to this manuscript. That's my big it's my big thing. I need to empty out my emails and get back to this manuscript. So that's the thing. So that's not a very smart goal, but I need to I need to finish at least a new chapter. I'm about halfway through this manuscript, and I need to move it on because I've got another series that I want to write, and just gotta keep going. So, but I want to know what your goals are. So, another thing that happened while we were in this chat was Wylan, Deborah shared a link with you. I threw it in the comments if you want to check that out. All right, Deborah said, editing another chapter. That's the goal. Awesome. And TextVet Jeb, weekend goal, finish the outline and be ready to start writing. That's a good goal. All right. Vagrant Vagabond says weekend goal is to sleep. Yeah. Well, that's definitely a good thing to do on the weekends. That's for sure. Seems like you can't do it during the week. And Presentes Momento, 75 words. Goal, learn to be extremely patient with creative waiting for words. Might sound strange, but I'd rather be waiting than just writing nonsense. Okay, well, I might challenge you a little bit and say that sometimes what you think is nonsense is actually not nonsense. So sometimes when you write words, you might think that they're not good, but you get a little bit further into the book and then you come back to them and you realize, oh, okay, maybe these weren't that bad. Or maybe, oh yeah, I wasn't crazy about this scene when I wrote it, but this is what needed to happen in order to get me to point B. So, I think one of the bigger things about, I don't know, I shouldn't say bigger things, but I think an important lesson that I've learned about being a writer is being stoic and not. So listen, I'm a big fan of saying, if you feel good about the words, that is good, right? But I'm also, and it might seem a little bit hypocritical and, like, that's weird. I'm also a believer of, if you feel bad about the words, that doesn't mean anything at all, right? So just because you feel good about the words, the inverse is not always true, right? So I've learned to be stoic about the words. So if I'm feeling bad about a writing session, it probably has nothing to do with the words. It probably has something to do internally or externally, or maybe I'm having a bad day that day. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep, that sort of thing. And I don't reserve any judgment on words that I don't feel good about. So in a way, I like to have my cake and eat it too. At least that's how it is most of the time. So, maybe that works for you, presentes momento, but just think about, just think about that. Just remember I said that one day. Maybe it might be helpful for you. Okay. Deborah Edwards, weekend goal, write a new chapter. Nice. Ukweli would love to complete the first draft of this short story by Monday, holiday weekend. Nice. What holiday is that for you? I'm just curious because I don't think we have any holidays here in the States. At least I wish we did, but love to know what holiday you're celebrating on Monday. Get wet soon. Getting inspired again, at least trying to. Rainy here in Berlin. All right. I love the rain. I love it when it's raining outside, when it's raining and depressing. So wish we had some of that here in the States. Okay, Troy Dom. Hey, Michael, is 60K too short for a fantasy book? I don't think so. I think a novel needs to be as long as it needs to be. I think we feel like, I shouldn't say we, but it feels like people are conditioned to think that a fantasy novel has to be 100,000 words minimum, or it has to be a doorstop, or it has to be a murder weapon, and I don't think so. I mean, sure, if you're writing epic fantasy, you probably want to be a little bit longer, but I don't think you have to. So I just think your novel needs to be as long as it needs to be. Don't let anybody tell you that it needs to be a certain length. Now, if you've got a 5,000 word short story and you wish, you're trying to call that a novel, oh, no, okay, no, it's probably not. Probably need to have a different conversation. And if you're writing a 1,000,000 word novel, probably need to have a completely different conversation. But to me, as long as your book is over 40K, you know, do whatever you want. that's my opinion. And I know that's sometimes hard to hear, sometimes hard to practice, because there's so many people out there that, and readers are kind of guilty of this too, that, a book has to be a certain length. It has to be this amount, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it matters. I think what matters is the story and how satisfied readers are at the end of the story. And, before we even get to that point, how satisfied you are when you finish the book and you write the end for the first time. Okay, Doreen, do I need to finish a new list of changes? I'm sorry. I thought it was a question. My fault. I need to finish a new list of changes I need to make to my manuscript. Okay, good. And presentes memento, I meant words intentionally sloppy writing to later be rewritten. Oh, yeah. Well, agree with you on that. Yeah, I'm everybody who's watched me for at least 5 minutes knows that, I'm not a big fan of sloppy writing. So agree with you 100% on that. Okay. David McPherson, 750 words this interval. I guess I was focused. Well, that's good. And Emperor Finche, I struggle to get past scenes that I find typically boring but necessary in the story. Should I delete them and start again or just power through them? Well, Emperor, this goes back to what I was telling Presentes Memento a few minutes ago, that just because you feel that it's boring doesn't necessarily mean that it's boring. I think there's two schools of thought, right? The first school is writing is so much about an exercise in mindfulness. I talked about this last month. It's really being mindful about how you're feeling, mindful about what you're putting on the page, mindful about how readers are going to respond to what you're putting on the page. And it's also, like I said, being mindful about your emotions. And sometimes you are just not in the right mindset when you're writing. You're writing the words, but your mind is not always right. And that doesn't mean that the words that you're writing are bad. It just means that you're not in the right mindset. All right, so let me give you a classic example of this. I bet it's happened to all of you. It happens to me a lot. If I don't get a good night's amount of sleep the night before, I am very highly likely to have bad writing sessions, right? Because I'm not going to be feeling right? If I don't eat breakfast in the morning, or if I don't eat the right kind of breakfast in the morning, that affects my energy levels and it affects my mood throughout the rest of the day. All right. So don't discount that when you're writing if you're feeling bad or bored about what you're writing. All right. Now, if you really believe that that's not a factor, then there is something to be said about, if you're bored, then the reader might be bored. But I still don't think you should blow it up and start again. I think you should just continue powering through it, because, as I said, I just don't think that one, it's not productive to blow up your chapter and then start again, because how do you really know that readers wouldn't have resonated with it? I mean, I don't think you really know that. I think it's more of a feel than anything else. So, I'm just a fan of committing to what you've written. Once you've written it, do you have opportunities to clean it up? Sure. If you believe in going back and revising what you wrote, I think that's fine. I'm not a fan of rewriting. I think that's too extreme. But take the lessons that you learn and apply them to the next book. All right. That's my 2 cents. And I'll get off my soapbox. All right. Oh, David McPherson, Columbus Day. I always forget about Columbus Day. I'll just shut up now. It's been great, guys. I'll see you later. Okay. Vagrant Vagabond. All joking aside, plan out the changes for my second draft. Nice. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. Just rub it in, folks. Columbus Day on Monday. It's a holiday that I don't celebrate. And I don't know many people who do. I mean, I guess there's some folks who get it off work, but yeah, we'll just leave it at that. All right, Greblocks, I will launch my author website this weekend. That's my goal, and then focus on my day job because the lights need to stay on, as they do indeed. All right, Wyland, thank you for the link. Awesome. Glad you got it, Wyland. And let's see. Greblocks, thank you, Author Level Up. I've been doing the Writing Power Hour for so many months now. Hey, cool. The publication date is in sight. Well, hey, congratulations, Greblocks. Let us know when you publish and we'll celebrate with you. All right. Troy says, I personally like shorter books, but I was getting nervous because everyone was telling me that epic fantasy should be longer. Yeah, again, it just goes back to the peer pressure. If Timmy and Daisy jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge too? I say that a lot. But really, there is that peer pressure. I think if you feel that the story is complete and you feel like there's nothing that can be added to it or taken away, then just stick by it. At the end of the day, the story is what matters more than anything else. Okay. Wyland says, if a work in progress is taking longer than intended and it gets to a point that it's starting to feel outdated already, is it better to go back and change it or just finish and make the sequel better? Yeah, you can give me some more context on this, Wyland, but I would say, I don't know what you mean by outdated, but if you've written it, I would just commit to it. And if you want to go back and do some revision, that's, certainly something that you can do. But yeah, just take your lessons and apply them to the sequel is typically how I operate. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see the second part of your question. For instance, my book, technically, which is what's inspired by my daughter, but she's over a year older than when I started and changed a lot. It's not based on her, but inspired by her and her friends. Yeah, I mean, I think that's your choice. If there is a big difference, as your kids age, how they think and the things that they like and the things they don't like, that sort of thing. I mean, if you feel like that would have a material impact to the story, then certainly you could do that. Okay. Yeah. Wyland says, kids grow and change fast. That is the truth. That is the truth. All right. And Presentes Memento, technically, which is an amazing title. Yeah, it's pretty cool title. So, all right. Well, I'll give another 30 seconds or so for questions to come in. Let's talk about the next date of the Power Hour. Get my handy dandy calendar app up. Oh, okay. We're looking at Saturday, November 4th. All right. So Saturday, November 4th will be the Power Hour. We're in a regular rotation. We'll be in a pretty good spot up until the end of the year. When we hit New Year's, that's when things usually get a little hinky, but we are in a good spot. All right. So Saturday, November 4th. Okay. Troy asks, how long are your writing sessions typically? Do you write every day? Well, Troy, this is a bit of a loaded question for me. So my writing sessions are all over the place. Sometimes it's in the backseat of an Uber car on my phone, and it might be 10 minutes. Sometimes, it's in the checkout line at the grocery store, and it's like 2 minutes. I was at Aldi the other day, and I was standing in a long line, so I whipped out my phone and went to town. Sometimes I can actually sit in front of the computer and get a lot of work in, and I could write for 2 hours and not even think about it. Other times I might be taking my dog on a walk, and I'll take her on a 30-minute walk, and I'll dictate while I'm doing it. So I don't have, there's no average writing session for me, honestly. And it's just kind of all over the place. Now, do I write every day? I would like to write every day. And most days I write. If I'm not writing, I'm doing something toward my writing business. But when I'm writing a book, I am writing every day. And I would say over this year, I kind of faltered a little bit. I had some health things going on and some personal circumstances that I had to deal with. But so this year, not really that good of a year for me, even though I'll still still publish a decent amount of books. But yeah, typically I write every day. That's the goal. That's the dream. But I don't beat myself up if I can't do it. And what I've been telling people over the last few years is you can build a really prolific writing portfolio without having to write every day. I think the intent. I think if you can sit down and develop a schedule and you can do it every day, that's awesome. That is a beautiful thing, right? And I'm never going to begrudge anybody for doing that. If you are one of those people that can sit down and do it, if you've got everything organized in your work life and your family life, and you're disciplined enough to be able to sit down and do it, that's awesome. Now, if you are raising a family, if you are working full time in a demanding job, or if you've got other responsibilities like aging parents or sick spouses, those sorts of things, it's not going to be possible to write every day. But it is not impossible to develop a prolific writing catalog. All right, and I'm Exhibit A of that. Right, it'll be 10 years officially in January for me. And you can look how many books I've written. I think I'm on book 87, 88 right now. And, that's not too shabby, right? So if I can do it without having written every day, then I think anybody can. So that's my answer to your question. Okay, let's see here. Wyland says, the day after my birthday is the first day in December. I hope there's a PH. Okay, awesome. And Doreen, do you think in general it's better to have less minor characters when it's optional for the story? Well, I think minor characters are interesting. It would be interesting, I think, to go through, just pick pick 3 random mega bestseller novels, right? So like Stephen King, Nora Roberts, John Grisham. All right, it doesn't matter. You pick your poison, who you like. Those I just happen to come back to some of my favorites, but pick a random novel from any of those 3, and then go through it and count the number of minor characters that are in it. We should probably define what a minor character is. So obviously, a minor character is not a hero. It's not a supporting character or a member of the team. It's not a villain or a member of the villain's team. It's just kind of a character that might have some function of the story or some role in the story, but they don't have a lot of screen time, right? They may only appear a couple of times, right? And that's different from a cameo, which is the character that appears one time or maybe 2 times, and that's it, and have no significance to the story. So we can be a little squishy about our definition of a minor character, but if you go through the novels and count the number of minor characters, I would be curious on what the average is. It would be really interesting. And then what I would do, again, I wouldn't go change anything in your story. This is purely just a philosophical exercise. I would go in your novel and I would compare it and see where you end up. Are you below the average or are you above the average? And I think that would be a really in fact, I'm going to write that down. I actually might do that this weekend. That's a really fun exercise. Writing it on my little whiteboard. Okay. So do that and see. And then, okay, so if you're above or below the average, I would start asking questions. Like, okay, so why am I below the average? Probably better to be below the average than to be above it, right? So if you're below, I don't know if I'd be as concerned. But if you're above the average, okay, that's interesting. So why do I have this many characters? Again, don't change anything in your novel. That's not worth it. But I would look to the mega bestsellers on that. I think that would settle your question and hopefully answer it. But probably, Doreen, you're probably within their average. And you have to consider length and all that stuff. I just find it amazing, like how frequently writers just do the right stuff without even thinking about it. It's just it's automatic, it's instinctual. We just have the problem of getting inside our own heads, and we often stumble upon ourselves more than anything else. But like if you look at what we're doing, we just have to be a little bit more intentional about what we're doing. We have to I think our goal should be to, as much as we can, make the unconscious conscious so that we can be strategic and intentional about what we're doing. But I think if you look at a lot of stuff you're doing, you're probably not doing a lot of things wrong. It's just there's a few things that you would need to work on. And if you can improve those things, then you would improve your reader satisfaction. Okay. I really do believe that. Okay. Wyland says, how are you and yours? I hope you're thriving. Well, thanks, Wyland. I appreciate you asking that. I'm doing fine. I've been trying to get a little bit more exercise and trying to prioritize my health. It like I said, it's been a weird year for me. And so I'm doing some things a little bit differently. I still need to walk my dog a little bit more, but me and mine are doing fine. I can't complain. So like I said, I appreciate you asking. And Presentes Momento, you and Dean Wesley Smith insist on the subconscious muse, etc., that they're pretty much always right. I agree, but is there any point where you think the creative voice is wrong? Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you can certainly make mistakes all the time in any novel, right? And I think that the problem though is that you don't always, when you make a mistake in a manuscript, very seldom are readers going to tell you, especially when you're starting to build a career. You can publish 10 books, right? And you may not be able to get very many reviews. So it'll be hard to know where you went wrong in your story. Like, are people picking up the sample of your book and just not buying it because of the writing? Is it the cover design that maybe you made a mistake on? Is it the formatting? Is it just the story itself? Maybe the packaging in terms of the book description? Or maybe there's something you did with the character in the opening chapter that wasn't interesting. You will really never know why readers don't like your novel. So objectively, it's very difficult to know if you've done anything wrong and what you've done wrong, right? So yes, is it possible that you get some things wrong when you're writing your manuscript? Yeah. And generally you'll find that out as you get more experience. And as you take classes with people like Dean Wesley Smith and learn from other professional writers and figure out what they're doing right, and you can start, imitating that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that, if you listen to your subconscious every day of every week, you'll be an instant bestseller. It doesn't happen that way. But often, we start to learn what we do wrong as we write more words. So I'll give you two examples. If you follow the Ray Bradbury challenge, where he says, write a short story every week for 52 weeks, inevitably your skill level after finishing that 50-second story is going to be considerably higher than that first story. And that's because the process of writing more words, it's like lubricant. You end up in your best form. If you write 1 million words, which I've written several million words, your skill level at the end of 1 million words is going to be considerably better than at the beginning, right? So you learn as you go, and that's how it goes. Okay, let's see. In It by Stephen King, early on, there's a bunch of kids getting accused for horrible crime and not committed by them. As far as I have read, they seem to vanish out of the story forever thereafter. Yeah, I forgot about that. I guess that goes to the minor character comment. Okay, yeah, Doreen. If you do it, if you come back next month, let me know how that went for you. I'd be very curious because I'm going to be doing that this weekend. Okay. David McPherson, I really enjoy these power hours. It does help with my focus. Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you next month. All right. So then a follow-up question. Should you ignore your critics? Absolutely. You should ignore your critics. In fact, you should go out of your way to ignore your critics. If somebody doesn't like you, doesn't like your story, then I was going to say something probably inappropriate. I won't go that far, but you probably know what I was about to say. So yeah, ignore them. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you don't want your writing. what I was going to say is you don't want your writing to be in an echo chamber. All right. You do have to live in some sort of reality. All right. And for me, the reality I live in is I'm going to write. My writing is an indicator of my skill level at that time. I don't know if people are going to like this. I don't know if they're going to hate it. At the end of the day, I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to stand by it. And the writing speaks for itself. If people like it, great. I will appreciate that and I will take the money all day long. If people don't like it, well, it doesn't matter anyway because I'm still publishing the book. And they want to air their grievances, we live in, for the most part, we live in a free society where people are able to post their opinions online, and those people are going to influence whoever they influence, and one has to hope that your critics actually do you more of a service than you think, because they're going to inspire people who would not have liked your book anyway to not buy it, which actually helps you. So if anything, secretly, you should be thanking your critics because they're stopping somebody from picking it up and leaving you a potentially bad review. So I just think that the writing world is an ecosystem, and everything plays a part. So the readers that love your books, they play a role in your ecosystem. The critics play a role in your ecosystem. And I think the best thing you can do is just write the best books you can and just leave it alone. It's my opinion. All right. Wyland says, hey, being here for this Power Hour has made me feel better and more positive than I have for over a month. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you and everyone who's here as well. Well, I appreciate it, Wyland. And like I said, we're with you and wish you all the best. And Presentes Momento says, the writing speaks for itself is a good quote. All right. Text Vet Jeb, thanks, Michael, for another Power Hour. Hey, great. So I think, folks, that's going to be a wrap for this month. Remember, next Power Hour is November 4th. I appreciate you all showing up this month. Oh, and I forgot, November 4th is NaNoWriMo. So if any of you are participating in NaNoWriMo, please let me know. We'll give you some extra cheerleading so you can meet your goals. All right. So with that, guys, I'm going to be out of here. I got a minor character exercise I need to do this weekend. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care, and I'll see you in November.